The movie begins with a police officer named Green, who is given the responsibility of delivering a sum of money to Balam, a prominent prisoner with lavish accommodations and private guards. Balam is a powerful drug lord who continues to control his empire from behind bars, managing drug trafficking both within and beyond the prison walls. In addition to his drug business, Balam runs a company involved in human trafficking and the illegal sale of drugs and weapons. He has chosen to remain incarcerated, believing his enemies can't reach him in prison. Meanwhile, new inmates arriving at Balam's prison are escorted to their assigned cells. Officer Green confronts another inmate, Jack Stone, who is serving time for killing an officer's comrade during a heist. Green, outraged, punches Jack in the stomach and sneers that Jack's time in jail won't last long. A week prior to his imprisonment, Jack and two friends robbed a bank to gather concrete evidence to expose acts of corruption and tyranny by government officials and police officers allied with Balam. Jack managed to secure both the money and relevant information from the heist but was quickly surrounded by police, resulting in his accomplices being fatally shot. Jack, though wounded, fought off several officers and fled into a nearby building. When a police officer threatened to confront him, Jack removed his mask, revealing himself as a fellow officer, surprising his pursuer. Jack, however, pushed the officer, causing them both to fall from a great height. The officer was killed instantly, while Jack survived, later sharing this incident as a calculated act of vengeance for his wife, who had been murdered by corrupt officers in Balam's network. Jack subsequently passed all gathered evidence to a journalist, Trisha, urging her to investigate and report it to the prosecutor's office. Once in prison, Jack is placed in a cell with an inmate named Silva. During lunch, another prisoner, Semyon, who happens to be Balam's cousin, approaches a new inmate and demands protection money. When the inmate refuses, Semyon beats him up. He then approaches Jack for money, but before Semyon can make a threat, Jack punches him, knocking him and his men down. Guards place Semyon and his crew in solitary confinement, allowing Jack to continue his meal undisturbed. Afterward, Jack is taken to a room where he communicates with Balam through a surveillance camera. Balam warns Jack not to interfere with his business and reminds him of his role in Jack's wife's murder. Balam tries to intimidate him, but Jack shows no sign of being deterred. Later that evening, 3 inmates sneak into Jack's cell and attack him, but Jack swiftly defeats all 3 without even disturbing his cellmate, Silva. Meanwhile, Trisha pursues her investigation, armed with a file detailing the corrupt acts of police and government officials, seeking to identify Jack's motives and allies. She attempts to meet with the prosecutor but is redirected to his assistant, Mark, after the prosecutor is called away. Suspicious, Trisha insists on returning another time. Outside the office, she plans to meet the prosecutor directly to disclose the corruption among the police and officials. Trisha later visits Jack in prison, updating him on her investigation. Jack advises her to exercise caution and use her newfound knowledge wisely. Reflecting on his wife's memory, Jack returns to his cell. Following his confrontation with Semyon, Jack is approached by another inmate, William, who warns him to stay alert. Jack expresses no fear of Semyon or Balam and asks for the location of Balam's cell, learning from William that it's a secret known only to a few. The story then shifts to a women's prison, where 2 inmates are involved in a brawl. After guards break it up, one of the inmates, Elena, is hooded and moved to a new location. She is presented before Balam, who reveals that Semyon and other male inmates are running their own side business in drugs and protection money without his approval. Elena, who previously defeated one of Balam's trusted minions, is also summoned as punishment. Balam announces a competition with a $10,000 prize for anyone who can kill Jack and present his head. Hearing of this challenge, William warns Jack, who then faces multiple attacks from inmates eager to win Balam's prize. With William's help, Jack overpowers his would-be assassins. Meanwhile, Balam receives a call from District Attorney Johnson, informing him that a female journalist has uncovered evidence of corrupt officials and police involved with Balam. Balam instructs the prosecutor to eliminate the journalist and vows to kill Jack by the day's end. As Jack works in the laundry room, the prison warden assaults him. Weakened, Jack exits the laundry room to face a group of inmates ready to attack him, but he dissuades them by pointing out the low payout they would receive by splitting the reward among themselves. The prisoners ultimately abandon their plan and leave. Trisha discusses the corruption with her friend Allison. Back in the women's prison, Elena deliberately provokes Balam's henchwoman, Kat, and during a staged fight, pretends to pass out, allowing her to be taken to the hospital. Once alone, she escapes her handcuffs, stashes drugs and alcohol in William's cleaning bucket, and studies the surveillance cameras. Afterward, she sneaks back into her medical room, just as a nurse approaches, avoiding detection with William's help. In a quiet moment, Jack confronts William, discovering he is actually an undercover FBI agent working to expose Balam's network. Elena has been William's partner in the covert operation for 6 months. Shortly after this revelation, Jack and William are attacked by inmates. Jack is then placed in solitary confinement, while William is called to Warden Bland's office, where Blaine demands payment for continued protection. Trisha attempts to meet the prosecutor again but is informed he's unavailable. Mark suggests she share her findings with the FBI. Soon after, Balam's daughter visits him in prison, and as he steps out of his cell, William signals Elena to start her mission. Elena and William disable the warden and infiltrate the CCTV room. Through the surveillance, Elena sees that Balam is about to leave the visiting room, and William unlocks the isolation room, allowing Jack to escape. Chaos erupts as William opens the prison doors, inciting an inmate riot against the guards. Jack, disguised as a guard, prevents Officer Green from escaping, pushing him into the violent crowd. Jack then faces Semyon once more in a brutal fight, during which he is stabbed but ultimately overpowers his rival. Elsewhere, Trisha narrowly escapes an assassination attempt by Allison but is saved by Mark, who reveals himself as an undercover FBI agent investigating corrupt officials alongside District Attorney Johnson. In the prison, William and Jack finally confront Balam, with Jack drawing on memories of his wife to overpower and kill him. The SWAT team soon arrives, restoring order. Balam's network is dismantled, leading to the arrest of all complicit officials. As a reward for his efforts, William invites Jack to join the FBI.